Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, What's in Yours. In this episode, we're going to have a two-part series on doing some lighting upgrades on my Nanrobot RS7. The first video that we're going to be doing is adding some additional brake lights for better visibility when stopping and of course at night. I do like to ride in traffic a lot, so it's more of a safety upgrade. And then in the second video, we're going to be adding some color lights underneath the deck just for a little bit better visual appearance. So let's go ahead and get started on the brake lights.
Okay folks, so we're back with the brake lighting upgrade, and so this is what I've done so far. Got these little lights. Let me get one here. I think I got them off of Alibaba or Banggood. I can't remember. They're real cheap. I think I bought 5 sets, different colors, but these are basically the same ones that are already currently on the scooter. So basically, so far what I did is I drilled a hole right here between the current brake light and the running light. Just had enough room to fit one of these lights in between there, and then of course I have them right here. And then one thing that you're gonna have to know is what the voltage is of the light is, or the wattage, which these ones are 3 watts, and then what are they connected to. So in this particular case, it is connected to a buck converter, which is a little tiny one. I'll get a close-up of that little tiny buck converter right here, and has some heat shrink over here. I had to take off the previous heat shrink just to put my meter on there and check the voltage. But basically this one right here runs to the one that's currently already on here. This is the brake light, this top one right here. So basically all I'm going to do is take the top one, now the middle one right here, this middle one, and the wire coming from the buck converter, and I'm going to solder all these together. Then when I push the brake handle, it's going to light both of these up at the same time, and it's basically going to be rinse and repeat on the second one. So I already have this one installed, and I'll show you the hole that I drill and everything on the other side, and then how I solder them in, and then also we'll check the function of them after I'm done. Alright, be right back. Alright, I got my little soldering station set up, and hopefully you can see here I got the 2 wires from the lights back here twisted together, and then I also got the wire coming from the buck converter, and I got them twisted right here. I got my little magnifying glass. So what I like to do is I like to just get a little bit of solder on there, and then kind of tin them up like that. I'm not a soldering expert, but I do the best that I can do here. Here we go. It's not the best soldering job in the world, but it's gonna work. Trust me, folks. Okay. We're gonna let that cool just for a second, and then we're gonna check make sure they're good to go. And then of course I added a piece of heat shrink right here, and when I'm done soldering everything, we'll heat shrink that. That way, you know, a lot of bouncing and things like that going on in the scooter, those aren't going to come apart. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the soldering job, and I'll show you what it looks like after I'm done. So stay tuned. Okay, got these soldered up. Not an electronics guy, not great at soldering, so please be gentle in the comments with my soldering job, but they're pretty secure. And one thing to note as well is that these wires are super duper thin. I think these are like 24, 26, 28 gauge, something like that on these wires. So they're, I didn't even have a wire stripper small enough to get these. I know they make them, but I didn't have them, and so I just took a pair of side cutters and stripped it. The only thing you need to be careful of is when you're stripping it, just make sure you're doing the stripping on the sleeve only and not cutting this stranded wire. I don't know if you can see that or not, the stranded wire itself, because it's very tiny. And so basically I have a piece of heat shrink here that I'm going to be putting over this, because what you want to do is, so I got a piece of heat shrink for the whole thing, but you can't heat shrink these two together because you don't want them touching. So I'm going to get this piece, if we can, over this. We have it on there like that. I'll try to show you sometimes it's not as easy. Some people just do it and then come back, but I like to show you guys all the kind of struggles I go through on it. That way maybe you can get some ideas of your own and make it a little bit easier for yourself. Ooh, that's still a little bit hot. Be careful. Alright, so if you can see that, hopefully that's heat shrinked on there. And then we got this bare one here, and I'm just going to take all these wires with this heat shrink I got here, and we're just going to hope that all the connections are made well. If not, we'll have to take it apart and do it again. So, but it is what it is. It's a do-it-yourself type of thing. And there you go. Ouch. Alright. So that's all done. And let's see if we can get a little bit of a closer look. What was really handy is I got this soldering station right here from Harbor Freight to help me hold the wires. But here's the whole bundle together. And then here's the 3 lights. This is my running light. This is the red one that always stays on. This is the one I added, and this one was already currently here. So these two right here, sorry, I probably got the camera all jacked up, but these two right here, this one I added. So these two are going to be your brake lights. So they're only going to come on when you hit the brake. So it's just going to give me double the red lights there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and then we're going to go, I'll turn the scooter on, put the battery back in, we'll turn the scooter on, and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so stay tuned. Alright folks, I got this hole drilled on this side. It was a 25/64 because we have to get this stem in here. So I have one already ready to go. And basically what I like to do, because this is just going to be pressed up against the metal, and here I'll give you a closer look at the hole here. This hole right there. I like to put a little O-ring on it, so let me get this set back up here. So I have a little O-ring right here, and I just put that on here like so, and then I just push it down, and that adds a little bit of extra waterproofing to that. And we're just going to feed it right here in this hole, put it on there like that. Then it has this backing nut that goes on the back just like this. I'm just going to put it on there. just kind of get it hand tight as best I can. Might put a little wrench on there if I can get one in there, but what that O-ring does is acts as two parts. One for waterproofing, so water doesn't get inside the deck, and then two, it kind of acts like a dampener or like a locking ring, and locks it into place. And then so basically, since that's done, I will take this wire, and from this side I will splice these wires together. And so one thing I need to note is that this buck converter, I don't know if it's going to handle the load on 2 additional lights. A buck converter, a DC to DC converter. I did an initial testing over and over again, pressing the brake handle with it just jumpered on there, and it seemed to work just fine. No wires were overheating. So we'll tell over time if this is going to work. It should though, because those LED lights don't pull that much power. Alright, so I'm going to get the soldering set up and we're going to go from there. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back and we're done with the install. And this is what the final product looks like right there. So you got the 2 brake lights and then just the running light. And then on this side, same thing. So I'm trying to get around this battery. But the 2 brake lights and the running light right here. And I'll go ahead and turn on the brake light and let you see what it looks like. So those are the 2 brake lights right there. That's the left side. And that's the right side. And then when I turn the scooter or the lights on, you just have the two bottom. And then if I hit the brake lights, there you go. That's the right side, and that's the left side. So a couple things to note on this. Do yourself a favor. Make sure that before you solder all this, or solder it and heat shrink it, make sure you got a good mechanical twist on the wires, and then test everything out. Then go back, do your soldering. Once you do your soldering, test it again. Make sure it works. Then last, put your heat shrink on to protect the wires, and then turn it on again to make sure everything works. Now, so that concludes the brake light project. So the next project I'm going to be doing is going to be drilling 3 holes on each side of the deck here. 1, 2, so a total of 6, and there's going to be lights going up underneath. So right now, one of the reasons why I'm doing it is because I have these light strips on the side here, and when the lights are on with the headlights and whatnot, these are flashing, and I want to be able to turn this on and off with a switch along with the lights underneath. And so they're going to be red, green, and yellow lights underneath along with these lights. I think it's going to give it a nice little flare and a good look to it. So stay tuned for that project. And once again, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And until next time, ride safe.